Morning, friends. I've got kind of a controversial subject that I want to touch on this morning. It's one of those things, I don't want to offend anybody, but this is my opinion, so just take it for what it is. I know most of my vlogs on here, 90% of them at least, are for entertainment purposes only. Just kind of me goofing off. But something that is, in all sincerity, a passion of mine is paranormal investigation. I actually started when I was about 13 years old. I had a project for social studies in which I went and stayed at the General Lewis Inn and did a paranormal investigation. And, this was in the late 80s, way before the onslaught of all the ghost hunting reality shows that are on TV today. It was basically just a little boy going and staying the night in a so-called haunted hotel, and it was pretty cool. And then what was really cool, 20 years later, I went and investigated it again. Both times I never found any kind of activity, but the reason I wanted to make this vlog is there's just this total onslaught of, you can go on YouTube, you can go on the internet, but basically what you're seeing today is you got a bunch of kids with IR cameras running around in deserted buildings or residences in the dark with their IR cameras, heavy metal music in the background, startling each other, and they're making it out to be a paranormal investigation. And, please don't do this. The only thing you're doing is discrediting yourself, and you're discrediting the whole union of this. There's some things, in my opinion, that make really good investigators, and, well, in all honesty, what I think is the only way to be an investigator. And some of those things are, number one, you got to have a passion for history and folklore. You got to really love that and sense an urgency in learning about our past, and that makes a really good investigator. Number two, you need to be a skeptic. You need to go into every investigation almost with an atheist view of things, to where you don't really believe anything. You need to, don't put any thoughts in your head. Number three, you need a basic education of electricity and plumbing, especially if you're going to be in residential areas or, public areas where there is plumbing and, electricity being used. People need to understand that almost 99% of the paranormal accounts that everybody's documenting is nothing more than bad plumbing or just an electrical appliance on the fritz. For instance, unshielded wires cause all kinds of EMF spikes, trimeter spikes, and that's something that you got to be aware of in the field. Another thing, I have an iPhone 4. An iPhone 4 is horrible. It will interfere with radios, alarm clocks, anything like that. You got a cell phone in your pocket, it's going to cause all kinds of disturbance. Another thing that's big right now is the shack hacks or ovuluses, which is basically a radio, a low bandwidth radio that's had the crystals removed. So this radio is constantly scanning. When a radio is doing that, it picks up little increments of radio transmissions in between each scan. In radio talk, this is known as skip. There's nothing paranormal about this. People are trying to make this into something It's not. There's nothing paranormal about a malfunctioning radio. When you go into the field, you want people to love this field as much as you do, so you don't want to discredit yourself in any way. You want to go in with a scientific mind and try to actually prove that there is something not of the normal there. And there's just too many ways to pollute that. Another thing that I see people do is on these investigation tapes, you have people that are recording sounds and movements that are off camera. Once again, if you're in that kind of situation, anybody could be making a sound or a noise out of the view of the camera. Don't do that. If you can't document something right then and there, don't document it. Try to, keep it as scientific as possible. Try to keep it mature. No death rock in the background and stuff like that. But, love what you're doing and do it right. That's about all I got to say. Thanks.